Inside Westminster is proudly sponsored by Prosper Mortgage Group, helping Coloradans own their future, one home at a time. Whether you're buying your first home, refinancing, or expanding your real estate portfolio, Prosper Mortgage Group is your trusted partner in residential lending. Led by local experts Brett Popish and Jenna Swanson, and backed by over 30 years of combined experience, they make the mortgage process simple, clear, and tailored to fit your needs. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Let it be the foundation to own your future. Learn more at prospermortgagegroup.com, NMLS 2490880, Equal Housing Lender. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Inside Westminster with Brett Popish and Jamie Chavez. Jamie, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am good. This is our kickoff episode. For those listening that don't know, Jamie Chavez is the CEO of the Westminster Chamber. And we got to talking and we thought it'd be a good idea to develop a podcast to get more exposure to the business owners within the Westminster area. And also get information out to the residents of Westminster as far as different developments that are going on, different policies coming into play with our elected officials, city councilors, mayor, city manager, all the power players within the city. And we thought that this might bring some value not only to the residents, but to the membership of the chamber.
Yep, that's right. Any way we can get information out is always a good way.
Good deal. So let's start off for people that don't know who you are, how you became a member of the CEO of the chamber. Kind of give us your background in business and how you kind of came to be the CEO.
Yeah. So most recently, I was living in Windsor, Colorado, and I was commuting up to Wyoming. It was about an hour each way, and I just didn't want to do that anymore. So I started looking for jobs around Windsor, and it's just a really sleepy community. There's not a lot there. Mm-hmm. So I decided to just open a coffee and wine bar and make my own job.
And what year was that?
2017.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that for a long time. I did that through COVID, had 2 kids, moved to Westminster. While I was doing that, I sat on the board of directors for the Windsor Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, okay.
So I had experience with chambers from being on the board and being a part of that chamber. And then when I moved to Westminster, I was commuting again, so I decided I didn't want to do that. So I sold the bar in 2021.
2021. So how did you survive COVID?
Yeah, that was brutal.
I mean, a coffee and wine bar during the time that everything was closed down, I can't imagine that was a very easy task.
No, we had to completely pivot. We basically turned into a retail store because for whatever reason, people could come in and shop retail, but they could not come in and eat. So we sold wine charms, and we sold cheese board trays, anything related to coffee and wine, mugs. We sold wine. Actually, the governor made it so that we could actually sell packaged liquor, which was nice.
To-go wine. Yeah.
So we did that. We sold beer, coffee, obviously. And then we still did to-go coffees and things like that. But yeah, it was brutal. We never had to lay anyone off or fire anybody. So that was nice. The community really stepped up. We did things like package a bunch of lunches and take them down to the PD, and people would buy those. And so
cool.
People were tipping well, and they were just really doing what they could to support the businesses. And it was really good. But yeah, COVID was terrible.
I don't want to get into a COVID tirade because I think everybody can go back to those days, 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and tell the horror stories. But the one thing COVID did do is it made business owners get creative on how to stay in business, with what you had to do, right? And that's kind of, I guess, if you want to look at the silver lining of that time, it really kind of took you out of your comfort zone to say, okay, I can't serve in the restaurant or in the shop. So what can I do to still stay in business and provide a service? And it's good that a smaller community like Windsor supported you.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think if you were in maybe a bigger city, it would have been a little more difficult. Although, even in Westminster, even in downtown Denver, I mean, businesses had to get creative with outside dining and tent dining and all of that fun stuff. So
we had little greenhouses, which was nice in the winter. They were warm.
Yeah, well, in the winter is great because it's I want to be outside, but I can be inside while I'm outside type of thing.
It was so bizarre. I remember eating in those little huts. What a weird time.
Yeah, definitely.
But so I sold it in 2021 after years of being creative and getting through that. And then I started volunteering with the Westminster Chamber. I was staying home with my kids. And so I was just trying to stay involved in the business community and in the community in general. So I volunteered and then eventually was asked to work part-time for the chamber. And so I did that for a couple years until.
Now, was that under the prior leadership with Juliet?
Juliet, yep. And so I worked part-time for Juliet. And then when she resigned at the end of 2023, I wasn't going to apply for this job, but there were some members that were really encouraging. And so I did. Mm-hmm. I don't think the board really knew who I was. I hadn't been doing a whole lot for the chamber that they really knew about. And so I think it was a courtesy interview. I think my first one was a courtesy interview.
Right.
But they were all kind of surprised with what I had to say. So three or so interviews later, here I am.
So prior to joining the chamber as a CEO, you own the wine and coffee bar. Did you have any other businesses prior to that? Or I guess what got you started on your entrepreneurial journey? That's a hard word to say. Yeah. Entrepreneurial journey prior to getting into the chamber, because the chamber is all about supporting entrepreneurship and small business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So after college, I lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming, because I went to school in Laramie. And so I lived in Cheyenne for a few years, and I started a business at one point. I was working full time, but I also started a business doing event planning.
Okay.
And so I was primarily doing fundraisers for like school boards and schools and nonprofits. And that was a lot of fun. I had a partner in that, and we just planned a bunch of fundraisers and events. And so that was my first kind of experience in the business world. Completely different than a coffee and wine bar, but a really good introduction to owning a business.
Sure. Yeah. For those out there that don't own a business, there's a lot more that goes into it than just selling your product or service. Yeah. You've got the accounting, you got the vendors, you got accounts payable, accounts receivable, hiring employees, which is fun, as you well know, especially right now.
Yep. Marketing. Yeah. There's so much to it.
Good deal. Yeah. So going into the chamber, what kind of vision did you cast when you met with the board? What kind of vision did you cast as to where the chamber currently was and where you kind of wanted to take it?
Yeah. So my first priority when I started was to really connect with the membership and get everybody excited about the chamber and wanting to grow and participate and just really filling that community and supporting each other. And so that was the first thing that I focused on. So I just did a lot of outreach and talking with members and inviting them to things and somehow, building this culture that people enjoy being in and they come to and they support each other. So that was my very first goal. And then my next goal was growth, and how do I hire people to help out with this, and where do we go next, and
sure.
what can we do to support these businesses at an even higher level, an even more impactful level? And so that was kind of next. And so we've started things like the business incubator, where we can have people come in and get support as they're brand new business owners and maybe aren't sure what they're doing. We've got space downtown now so that we can house people here if they don't have a place to work for the day, or if they need to rent an office for a meeting or whatever the case may be. We've got those options. And most recently, we've partnered with the city on basically a $300,000 contract for us to be able to activate this downtown space. And so we are just bringing people downtown, foot traffic, and getting people into these businesses.
So the contract with the city for reactivating the downtown space, this is to do events, get more attraction to this area. Mm-hmm. So talk about that, because you guys just had an entire weekend of events.
Yeah, we had 6 events in one weekend as kind of a kickoff or like a launch to the program or to the contract. So we had, we're kind of gearing it towards, something for everybody. We had a kid event. We had 2 concerts that got kind of rained out. So that was kind of a bummer, but what do you do about that? We had an event for dogs. We had a yoga event. And then we did a scavenger hunt. So people came here, got their little scavenger card, and then walked all around downtown getting stickers at the different businesses so that they could walk in and see what those businesses were, and hopefully come back there sometime or use those services.
Sure.
But yeah, the whole goal is to bring as many people downtown as possible and just really activate this space, which will in turn help with getting additional businesses located down here.
Right. Well, and I think it's important too for the listeners out there. You don't have to have a physical location in the downtown area to participate in these events.
Right.
These events are community events overall. That is good really for any business to participate in, especially if your service area is going to be in Westminster at some level.
Yep.
Right. And I think a lot of the businesses within the chamber, some of them are locale based, but some of them are more service based. And so those service based businesses could really benefit from doing those events also, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just the exposure. And, it's really, the downtown is kind of, it used to be the downtown Westminster Mall. And so people used to come here from everywhere. They used to come here from, all the way different states to go to the Westminster Mall. And people are really nostalgic for that. They want to see that happen again. And so that's kind of the goal, is to get that same feeling that mall had in this downtown area.
You know what they need to do?
What's that?
So I'm a Westminster native.
That's right. That's right.
And I remember coming to the Westminster Mall back in the day just to walk the mall on a Friday night. That's how old I was. What they need to do is they need to put a balloon, like a hot air balloon exhibit somewhere in this downtown area, because for those of you that may not have ever visited the Westminster Mall, the middle of the mall had a hot air balloon exhibit inside the mall. Yep. And it was the keystone, or that was what the mall was known for. Like when you saw like the logo, it was the balloons. Yeah. And it would make a ton of sense to do some sort of little square in the middle of this area with some kind of balloon exhibit as an homage to that, because it would be retro, and I think it would make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you say that, because they're doing that.
Oh, okay.
They have, so we've been doing these meetings actually because they've did a call for proposal for artists to do an installation that's going to be just kind of on the southwest corner of the new park that they're building. And so it's just this art installation. And so the artists, for whatever reason, all kind of picked up on that balloon idea. And so both of the ones that were being voted on are balloon. They're like renditions of the hot air balloons. And so that's really cool that you said that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. And then I think in the park they're building, there's also a climbing structure for kids that is a hot air balloon.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, they're reincorporating that.
Well, I mean, that's what it was known for. I mean, back then it was Westminster Mall and I think Villa Italia and then Aurora Mall maybe, but there wasn't a whole lot beyond that in here.
Yeah, I've only lived in Westminster 6 years, and so I never saw the mall. I never went to it, but I have seen the photos of the balloons that went up and down. It was pretty cool. So
now, as far as benefits for small businesses and business owners being part of a chamber, can you kind of talk about that? Because I feel like in some stigmas, if you will, chambers are just something that businesses feel they have to be a member of, and you get on a directory, and there's really no real benefit there. And me and my wife both, we've been pretty active in the chamber, Jenna more so than I am, but there's a lot of benefits that I feel business owners and people could really take advantage of within the chamber itself.
Yeah, so the most obvious, and I think the most traditional, is obviously the networking aspect and getting to know the other chamber members, the other businesses in the community, and how you can support each other. When you get to know people, then you feel comfortable, referring them to other people. And so coming to the events and getting to know people, getting a couple referrals, doing a good job, and then just building those relationships. That's kind of the what a chamber has been and what it has served as for a really long time. And of course, we still do that. We do a lot of advocacy for small businesses. And so we're constantly watching what's going on at the city, the county, the state, and even the federal level with policy around things that are going to impact small businesses here in the community.
Now, do you guys have a lobbyist that you work with for stuff like that?
Yeah, we've got a lobbyist at the Capitol, Kelly Sloan. He works for us. And so he watches, because hundreds of bills each year going through the legislature. And so there's no way I can keep up. So he's constantly watching those bills for us, bringing those to our attention. And then once in a while, we get a member that will reach out and say, hey, have you guys seen this bill? It's really going to impact us. What can we do about it? How can we get your help? And so that's one of the ways that the chamber is working hard for small businesses. And people might not even know that we're doing that. But we're constantly watching to see what's going on. Yeah. So.
Usually when you're part of an organization, some kind of trade organization or anything like that, they have their political action committee that does stuff like that. And I wouldn't assume that most business owners know that that's something that you guys do.
Right. Yeah. We've got our government affairs committee, which is, I think, the same thing. It's led by a former legislator. And so she really knows kind of the ins and outs of what we're doing and what to look for and what to focus on. We recently developed a legislative roadmap so that legislators know what we're focused on as a chamber and what our concerns will be, what we will be more likely to support, and that type of thing.
How do you guys determine, or how do you vote on what bills you're going to support, which ones you would oppose? Does the board get together and discuss that, or how do you guys come to consensus on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we'll bring it first to the Government Affairs Committee, and the Government Affairs Committee will vote to make a recommendation, and then the board votes on that recommendation.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. And I would assume that's pretty bipartisan.
Yeah.
In most cases. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would have to be.
Yeah.
Now, with the chamber, you guys seem to be more involved with a lot of the elected officials than a lot of other chambers are. Can you kind of talk about that and the relationship that you have with city council, the mayor's office, and things like that?
Yeah, that was another priority when I started, was just to make sure that we are working on those relationships all the time and building those relationships and, trusting each other, because at the end of the day, council is making decisions that are going to impact our members all the time. And so having a good relationship with them and being able to bring our concerns or our support to them is really important. Showing them what we're doing, that we're not just here throwing parties and getting people together for events.
It's not just happy hours?
Yeah, it's not just happy hours, no. And so they know that what we're doing is serious and that we mean to help these businesses in this community thrive. So yeah, that has been extremely fun, actually, working with, council and city staff and getting to know them. And then you build trust and you can partner on things like this contract with the downtown activation. I mean, they trust the chamber to do that. And so that's a huge compliment for us that the council approved that city staff worked so hard to make that happen.
Well, I think also it's helpful for the elected officials to have that direct line of communication to the business owners within the community, because they might be looking at an initiative or a policy one way, and yet when they talk to the business owners, they might have a different perspective and say, yeah, we didn't think of it that way. We didn't think of that unintended consequence, or we didn't understand what impact that would have, because the reality of it is elected officials can only know of issues if they're being told that. Yeah. We all live in our own little bubbles, and there's no way to know that without that communication.
And it's so cool because council members do try to come to a lot of our events. And so they'll come to like a ribbon cutting, for instance, and they'll talk with the owner of that business and really get to hear like what are the pain points that business owner is going through. Because those things aren't always obvious, especially, not all of the councilors have owned or run their own business. And so they don't always know what those pain points are. So them coming and being exposed to the business community is really important and really helpful.
Well, it behooves them too, because the more thriving businesses they have, as this downtown area where the office is located gets up and running and more robust, that's going to help the tax base. It'll help infrastructure. It kind of helps everything in a symbiotic relationship.
Right. Yeah, it all ties together.
Yeah.
And then another thing the chamber does along the lines of networking, but less focused on referrals. We've got chamber members that, again, maybe they're brand new at this and don't really have an idea of what they're doing, or they've got specific questions. And then we've got chamber members that have been in business for 30, 40, 50 years. And it's really cool to see those more seasoned business owners helping out the younger ones or the newer ones. It's just amazing, because that's what it's all about. It's just kind of supporting each other and this community as a whole. Well,
the interesting part about that is too, it's not so much, hey, you're my competition.
Right.
You're going to step on my toes. It's okay. Well, let's lift all boats.
Right.
Right. Let's kind of support each other. And as I said earlier, owning a business versus working in a business is two very different things. And so for the newer people that want to be an entrepreneur, that want to start their own business, this is a great place to start, because you're going to get that expertise and that help that you wouldn't get otherwise.
Right.
And you're kind of on an island without that support.
Yeah. Yeah. And, there's certain categories that we have a bunch of. We have a lot of realtors and we get them all in a room together at a business after hours, and they're not, in different parts of the room. They're all together talking and making referrals to each other. Even if it's not a good fit, they'll refer to someone else in the chamber. And so it's just a really great community. I'm really humbled and proud to be a part of it. Yep.
Now, you're not just the CEO of the chamber. You're a business owner yourself.
That's right.
So why don't you talk a little bit about that? So you sold the coffee and coffee and wine bar. You moved down here, volunteered with the chamber. Now you're the CEO. But what else do you do?
Yes. So I own a cleaning franchise. It's called Maid Right of Westminster. And it's we do residential and light commercial cleaning. So I have teams that go out and take care of people's homes and office spaces and HOAs and you name it, they'll clean it. So
cool.
Yeah.
How long have you owned that?
About 2 years.
2 years, good.
I bought the franchise right before this position opened up. And so kind of started them around the same time. And it hasn't been easy, but I have a lot of support. I have a really great board. I have a fantastic team of ambassadors that help out with a lot. So Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. I'll be totally honest with you. For people out there listening or watching, I've known you for 2 years, I think. And I look at everything you have on your plate and I'm like, I don't get it. Like it boggles my mind. So kudos to you.
Thanks. Yeah. I do need to sleep more.
The one thing that I will say is you have an amazing ability to get people to work with you and work for you, which it's incredible. And that's why I think you're such a good fit for the chamber as a CEO. Thanks. Because you get people to volunteer and do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. So kudos to you for that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just pretty incredible. Yeah. I mean, I honestly never really did much with the chamber up until recently. And look at me. Yeah. I mean, we're doing a podcast. Yeah. We run the book club together, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So,
and Jenna, your wife, is on my board.
Yep. Yeah. So, and I'm a Westminster native. I mean, I'm born and raised in this town. So this is kind of near and dear to my heart now. So I'm like, okay, what can I do to give back? And that's kind of why we decided to do this. Yeah. So where do you envision the chamber to go? Do you guys have a certain amount of a membership quota you want to hit, or, kind of where do you want to see this expand to?
Yeah. There's over 4,000 businesses here in Westminster. And so we've got like 1% of that in the chamber. And so we've got a lot of room for growth there. So definitely like to see that. And also expand on the types of businesses that we've got, get businesses in that we maybe haven't had before or don't have very many, and just kind of help in building those referral partners and relationships in that way. Equally important is to retention and keeping those members engaged and active in the chamber and a part of that community. So those are 2 goals I have, continued growth and retention. I would love to build a bigger team eventually. I just hired a director of events and special programs. And so I'm so thrilled about that. That's going to be a huge help.
Oh yeah. Especially when you're talking the events down here.
Yeah, definitely. I cannot do that on my own. So I'm really looking forward to that. So we're at 2 full-times and a part-time now, which is great. So I'd love to see that grow even more. But yeah, I'd love to do even more in the advocacy environment and making sure that we are talking with people about pro-business and business-friendly policy, because that's one of the areas that I see businesses are struggling so much right now. It's just over-regulation. People don't even know what they're supposed to be doing because there's so many things.
Now, is that at the state level? Is that at a local level? Kind of combined?
I would say it's all, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's not easy to track too. There's not a lot of places where you can go and it's like, you have to do this, and this. And so what I see a lot of is for new businesses, they'll get started and they're pumped, right? It's been a year, maybe 2 years. It could even be 5 years. And they're seeing a profit. And then they get hit with something that they didn't even realize was there. Mm-hmm. They didn't realize they were supposed to be filing or paying or doing. And so it's just really difficult. And so that is an area that I would really love to have more impact and just making things more simple.
Yeah, almost like what's the word I'm trying to think of here? It would be like a directory or some sort of small business owner guide. Yeah. I think the challenge with doing something like that, and it would be a massive build out, but the different types of businesses are going to have different requirements. Right. So if you have a coffee shop that serves pastries is going to be very different than a wine and cheese bar because of the liquor license and things like that. So, I like that idea. I think the build out would be a little challenging to know, like, how do you navigate the different types of businesses and organize it in a way that people can actually easily access the information.
Right. Like, do you have employees or not? Because that's a huge difference too in the things that you have to be doing. So yeah, it's definitely difficult, but I think the overregulation in general it's just so cumbersome and it's very discouraging. It keeps people from doing this. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing, that's one impact I would like to have, is to just help ease some of that for business owners.
Okay. So aside from the impact, adding value to the members, I mean, this whole thing is really value add. And in all honesty, I mean, everything you've talked about with, the leads groups, the ribbon cuttings, the business advocacy, all that is a value add. Mm-hmm. Do you kind of mimic, or maybe not mimic, but are you consulting with other chambers around the metro area to figure out, hey, what are you doing that maybe we could implement and that sort of thing?
Yeah, we do some partnerships. The Arvada Chamber has been around for, I think, like 100 years. Maybe they're going on 101 next year. They've been around a really long time. And they are led by Cammie Welch, who is amazing. I look up to her so much. And so I will call her or email her anytime I have a question. She's super helpful. And then her staff, too, and it's the same with Wheat Ridge and Golden and Broomfield and others. They will reach out when they want to partner on something or do an event together or have a training series together. And so we do try to partner as much as we can just to kind of save time and money for our members.
Do you, and this is kind of maybe a hard question to answer, or maybe you might not want to answer this question, but do you encourage business owners to be members of multiple chambers?
Yeah,
or do you see a benefit in that?
It can make sense. Yeah, it can. I think that when it can go both ways, right? Knowing more people is always better. Some people get aggravated when people are in too many leads groups or referral type groups because then it's diluting their ability to make quality referrals. But my argument there is if you are running your business in a way that you are proud of, you'll still get those referrals, even if you've got partners that are working with other people in the same industry. It's all how you run your business. And so, yeah, if you're not running it right, people aren't going to refer you. But if you're doing a good job and you're taking pride in what you do, you'll still get those referrals. I do think it can make sense for businesses to be a part of more than one chamber, especially depending on where they're located. I mean, right here where we're seated, Arvada's right across the street. And so if a business is right here, it might make sense to be a part of both chambers. Sure.
Now, as far as a sweet spot for the size of a business, I kind of know this answer, but maybe some people don't. Do you think that a business that is one employee is too small to gain any value from being a part of the chamber? And at the same time, do you think a business like, a chain restaurant would see no value in the chamber because, well, you've got the chain doing all the marketing and advertising and all that sort of stuff for you?
No, size I don't think matters. I think that even if you don't have any employees, eventually, if it's in your plan, you're gonna hire people or need to hire people. And so that is one of those milestones that I think having people to support you in and tell you how they did that, how they went about it. Because that's one of the scariest things you can do as a new employer or as a new business is make your first hire. It's terrifying. You're now in charge of someone else's livelihood.
It is terrifying.
And they're in charge of your business.
It's a gigantic responsibility on both ways.
Yeah, it's wild. And so having people that have been through that and can support you through that is good. Plus, again, with those referrals, that might be the bump you need to actually get over that hurdle to make that hire. Because there's a hurdle there. You go from doing everything yourself to needing help. And you kind of need a bigger jump than what you would guess. And so having those people to support you in that is awesome. Yeah.
Now, how old is the Westminster Chamber? Because you mentioned Arvada was 100 and some years old. Yeah. So how long has the Westminster Chamber been in existence?
11 years. I think going on 12.
Wow. So we're infants.
Babies. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We're a baby chamber. But we've come a long way in that time. A ton of growth, a ton of change. But I think we're in a really good spot where we are right now. So
that's great. Honestly,
for more growth.
Honestly, the growth that I've seen as a member over the last 2 years has just been phenomenal. And again, it's more engagement is what I'm saying. A lot more engagement. And people don't just view the chamber as it's a happy hour. It's an after hours. It's a ribbon cutting. Right. People are actually engaged in, you go to the gala that you guys host. I think it's in April and that just grows every year. And people are excited to go. People look forward to go. Like I'll run into people the week before and it's like, hey, are you going? And me, I'm pretty like, I'm like pretty laid back. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there, but it's amazing to see the excitement that has been brought to this chamber in just a short period of time. So that's awesome.
Yeah. The gala is my favorite event that we do because we get to honor those people that are really killing it. And there's so many. And I think that people just get really excited for those folks because they see it. They see how hard they're trying and all that they're doing for their business and their community. And it's just really nice to be able to honor people.
Right. Well, and on that same note, talking about the gala, there was a lot of elected officials there. There was representatives from congressional offices there. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of representation there. And regardless of what side of the aisle on the political side you're on, I think it's safe to say that both sides of the aisle want to support small business.
Absolutely.
It's just they have a different method or a different means in how they want to go about doing it. Mm-hmm. But it was great to see both sides being represented at the gala, and even having the Attorney General show up and kind of give a quick speech kind of before the event. That was impressive, because you're talking the AG of Colorado. I'm pretty sure he's got other bigger things to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. But this just shows you, where the Westminster Chamber is on the map of things.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really nice that he came, and the support that we get from our elected officials is great. And I love a lot of them have owned their own business, and so they get it. And so that's really refreshing to me. And if not, they're willing to talk about it, what's it like? Because it's painful. And so it's good for them to know that and see that pain.
Yeah. Oh, it can be painful.
Yeah. It can be, the highs are high and the lows are low. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, what else would you like people to know about the Chamber?
No, the Chamber's it's just a really welcoming community. Everyone can find a place here. We're not cliquey. Some chambers get cliquey. We're not cliquey. We are very welcoming and growing, open to ideas. Mm-hmm. So it's just a great community.
And the one thing that I would say before we leave here is you get out what you put in. Mm-hmm. And that goes for any venture you do, any leads group, networking group, trade organization. If you're not putting anything in, you're not really going to get much value out. But specifically with this chamber, and I'm not talking put in a ton of time, I'm talking just put in something. Wherever you see a niche, you're going to get so much value back that it's going to far outweigh the investment you're making.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, and there's businesses that they just want the decal for their door because they just want the confidence that comes with being a chamber member, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. because that's a thing. But yeah, when you come and you meet people and you really integrate yourself, the benefits are just unlimited.
Yeah. So. Well, the decal is the notoriety. It is the level of legitimacy. Right. Yep. But the reality of it is you have an entire support staff and support system behind you of people you probably don't even know yet.
Yeah. Yeah,
you've got an entire group of people rooting for you, which is very different, I think.
There was a member recently they were having a problem with something, and I can't remember the details, but I was like, oh, you have an army behind you. Like, just let us know. Exactly. Yeah. So
cool. All right, Jamie. Well, thank you. For everybody out there listening, watching, we're going to be doing this on a weekly basis. Again, the goal is to highlight not only business owners within the City of Westminster, but also elected officials and stuff like that. So this is not just for chamber members, although we want the chamber members to listen. We want the residents of Westminster to get engaged and listen as well, because you're going to gain so much value out of this, not only with the business owners, but learning what's coming up at the community, different events, different plans, developments, things like that. So hopefully we can, add some value to the entire city by doing this.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Jamie.
All right. Well, thanks, Brett. Nice talking to you.
You as well.